Saturday 7 till 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The place where we discuss everything strange.
The opinions expressed within the content of this podcast solely that of our guests and do not reflect the views and beliefs of the Bigfoot and Paranormal Encounters podcast, its hosts or its affiliates.
Welcome to Bigfoot and Paranormal Encounters podcast. And now your host, Dave Weichert.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bigfoot and Paranormal Encounters podcast. Tonight, we have a wonderful guest. She is from the state of Florida. Her name is Marie DUMONT. Before I bring her in, I want to bring in my co-host, my good friend, Rockin' Randy.
Hello, Mr. Dave. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I wish I could say I'm doing better, but I got a sinus headache, and as you saw, I just messed up a little bit, but I'll be all right. So let's not waste any more time. Let's bring Marie in.
All right.
Hi, Marie. How are you?
Fine. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, Marie. How are you?
I'm good. It's getting ready to storm here, so hopefully lights won't be going out or anything. So it's Florida, right?
Yeah, it was looking cloudy outside here at my location as well. So and I have bad luck when we get high winds and rain that pours down, and then I lose my signal. But It hasn't happened in a while, so I'm gonna knock on some wood. All right, so let's see, Marie. My first question for you is: what inspired you to become involved in Bigfoot?
Well, I've always been a paranormal investigator. It started out, I started doing that 30 years ago, about approximately. Started out with ghost hunting, did that for a while, and I still do all these things, And then it evolved into aliens and UFOs, and so I've had 2 sightings. But then I had some friends who were interested in Bigfoot, and I was like, I don't know about that, and but I went out in the woods with them, and what really did it for me was 5 years ago when I was out in Ocala National Forest, which is a hot area for us. I was camping overnight, coldest night of the year in January, and I was with about 15 people. And about 1:30 in the morning, I was standing off to the side of the campfire with my friend and somebody else from the group, and we heard an incredible loud vocalization. Loud, lengthy, what it would be described as like the classic Ohio Bigfoot howl.
Okay.
It was just amazing. It took something with incredible lung capacity to do that. And it was maybe, I'm not really good with distances, but probably a quarter of a mile away, I would say. And so we all just looked at each other with, big deer in the headlight eyes. And that's what did it for me. I was like, oh my God, they do exist. I want to be the one who proves they exist in Florida. So that's when I decided to start doing research every single weekend for the past 5 years. So we are out in the swamps, in the woods, whether it's my whole team or just me or only two of us or whatever, somebody on the team is out in the woods every weekend and has been for 5 years.
So you're the founder. You created the group, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did that because at the time when I started getting into this, I was looking on Facebook to see if I could find a Florida Bigfoot research group kind of thing, And at the time there was nothing really interesting. So I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. That's the kind of group I want to have. I want it to be all about, mostly Florida research, but it can really be anywhere in the country. And probably, I would say 60-70% of the people that I have in my group, I have over 8,000 members. Most of them are Floridians. So that's huge, because down here in Florida, everything is like taboo. Nobody talks about Bigfoots or anything, in the Pacific Northwest. Everybody talks about Sasquatch there, but in Florida, it's like, oh no, they're going to think you're weird. No, nobody talks about it. Everything's hush hush. So it takes having a group like this where people start to feel comfortable to talk about their encounters, their experiences, the things they've seen. So that's the point of my group. Of course, no bullying. Don't want people to get ridiculed, but I want people to share their knowledge and their experiences with each other. So.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your journey was similar to mine. I started out in the paranormal back in, well, gosh, I'm an old fart now. I just turned 61. And I started when I was about 17. Didn't really get busy with it until I was 20. Had my first UFO sighting at age 13, though.
Wow.
And then I continued with my paranormal group, the Maryland Paranormal Research Team, until 2016, and then I closed the doors on that and took some time off. And then I said, well, it's time for me to look for Bigfoot now. So that's basically what I've been doing since 2016. So,
wow.
Randy, you have a question for Marie?
You said you go in the woods by yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I am.
Okay. Aren't you scared to go in the woods? I mean, I've lived in Florida, so I know what you're talking about. Woods, snakes, eaters, rattlesnakes, pythons,
yes.
Everything in the world that can kill you is in the state of Florida.
Absolutely, 100%. Mm-hmm.
So, are you looking like into the Everglades? Are you doing field, in the fields of, farmlands and stuff like that, or?
Well, we have been. My team and I have been down to the Everglades. We've David Shealy. He's a skunk ape expert down in the Everglades, and he's an honorary member of our team. We work with each other, and sometimes we'll go down there and do research, or he'll come up here with us and do research. So we go all over the state. We go to Ocala, Mayaca, Everglades, the Green Swamp, which is one of our primary areas. Wesley Chapel. We've got. We just went to Jennings State Park in February, which is outside of Jacksonville, and that's where I found a trackway of prints, and I had an encounter at the campsite with my car. Something big, heavy, bipedal, walking back and forth alongside the driver's side of my vehicle, because I was car camping. I was inside of it, trying to sleep. And then something bumped my car, pushed my car. That all happened one night. So.
Wow. They so I lived in Wesley Chapel, and in Dade City, right next to that.
Yep.
And I lived on a farm right there on Clinton Avenue, and they had a 100-acre ranch out there. And you know, now that you said that, we always were missing calves.
Really?
Calves would come up missing on the farm, and we thought people were stealing them. But the fences were never broken. No one ever really, knocked down a fence. It was every time, they had probably had about 20, 30 heads out there, and we miss one or two calves every now and then.
That's interesting. Yeah,
I never thought about Bigfoot being in that area.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because there's some old swamps out there in outside of Wesley Chapel. Really old, and it's almost impossible. It's really difficult to get that far into it because it's so thick. It's the Southwest Florida Water Management District. They monitor the area because it gets really high with water and stuff. So it's all underwater this time of year, which stinks. But we just have to find different places to go that are drier, and and just try different methods. Like going out at night versus going out in the afternoon or in the morning. Because you're dealing with the heat, the humidity. You're dealing with rainstorms, thunderstorms. So you're trying to find the time that you can actually go out there and do something.
And it rains every day between 3 and 5 in Florida. I don't care where you're at. It's going to rain.
Well, now we're back in that rut where it usually starts around 4 to 6 is every day now. And it's thunderstorms. So
yeah. I don't miss that about Florida.
Yeah. No fun.
No.
Okay, external ex-Wolfpack Paranormal. What is the most interesting thing you found out about Bigfoot that you have seen personally?
That I've seen personally? Oh, geez. Seen personally. That's a tough one. I got to think about that. I had not seen the eye glow. I haven't seen any portals or anything, which is, people talk about the woo-woo side of things. I'm not sure. I have to think about that. I have found some strange things out in the woods. Strange structures, strange things. I don't know. I got to think about that.
Have you ever seen a Bigfoot down there?
No, not yet. But I've experienced everything else. I've seen black shadows. I've seen kind of like what was on Expedition Bigfoot a couple of years ago with Maria and Ronnie saw that shadow figure walk across the water. I saw something similar to that, but bigger and blacker, and it was north of Tampa, behind somebody's house. People I was visiting. We were doing a sky watch. We were doing UFOs. We're just watching the sky, and I turned to the side, and I was just looking at this swamp that she had behind her house, and sure enough, this black thing. Just huge, probably 7 feet tall, big black. It walked maybe 30 feet and disappeared. But it was a shadow. It wasn't anything three-dimensional. Okay, so now I remember what I'm going to, that person's question. The strangest thing I've really seen out there was, we were down south around Lake Okeechobee last year. And we did like a 3-day, 4-night investigation down there. And so we were at this campsite area. At night, we went out there, sat under the pavilion, and we just each had our night vision cameras or thermals or whatever. We were just pointing a different direction. We were just sitting on the picnic tables. So I have a monocular thermal So you put it up and, I'm looking around. Well, thermal cameras, when you do that kind of thing, it really dilates your eyes. So then you can't see, out of that eye. So I just look real quick. I'm looking around the tree line and I put it down. So my eyes adjusting and I'm just sitting there on the table. It's pitch black. I'm looking at the tree line and I'm looking at the biggest tree that was there. I don't know why. I'm just looking at it, right? And all of a sudden, right in the middle of the canopy of the tree, this huge white orb just appeared and flashed. It lit up the whole canopy of the tree. It was, from where I was sitting, it looked like the size of a basketball. It was huge, bright white LED kind of flash. And I was like, whoa, what the heck was that? And everybody turned around. What? And then it traveled. After it did the initial big flash in front of the tree, then it changed to about softball size. And it started traveling along the tree line. And it was flashing every once in a while, not all the time. And I'm just going to say there were no fireflies out that night, okay? But anyways, the size of softball. And it's just cruising along. Now people are watching. People are watching this. And there's some bushes. And so it goes behind the bushes. So now we're waiting for this thing to come out from behind the bushes. And what came out from behind the bush, what looked like a teeny tiny green firefly, comes out around the bush. And it comes directly to me. It came within 3 feet of me. I was talking to it because I was like, oh, look at the little guy. And I was like, wait a minute, he's coming right at me. I've never had a firefly come right at me. So it got about 3 feet in front of me. And then it turned and went right here, right next to my shoulder, disappeared, gone.
Wow.
Don't know what that was. The next night, we had another orb encounter at another campsite where we saw what looked like somebody walking through the woods with a flashlight searching for something. The orb just kept going back and forth. It was just floating around back and forth. It looked like somebody was looking for something. And my team member, Mike, was with me, and he was like, there's somebody over there in the woods. I'm like, no, there isn't, because I have my thermal, right? I can see there's no one in there. And he's like, there's got to be. That looks like a human. I said, there isn't anything. So I gave him the thermal. He looked, and he's like, holy crap. This area is known for orbs appearing. Okay. So it's very, very strange. So I do believe that it is associated with Bigfoot or skunk or something like that. But about a half hour after that orb sighting, I heard a huge, loud tree knock, but it was a crack. It sounded like a baseball bat cracking after the orb. So that's
now they claim that Bigfoot does orbs.
Yes, I know. Yeah, and that I couldn't explain. I mean, that was just the weirdest thing I have ever seen in my life. The original orb was the size of a basketball.
Wow.
It was huge. Huge.
Now the skunk apes in your area, what is their food source?
Well, they both basically, we believe, eat the same thing. Basically, whatever a bear would eat. Okay. So, we have this time of year, starting August or September, is kind of like when the saw palmetto berries start ripening. And those are allegedly a huge food source for skunk apes. And probably Bigfoot, because they're definitely a huge favorite of bears. And saw palmetto berries have medicinal properties to it. It's used You haven't known if you ever seen the supplements and stuff. It's used for prostate issues.
Okay.
And so saw palmetto berries, any kind of berry. I just learned we have dwarf huckleberries. I did not know that. And I've seen the bush. Now I know what it looks like. I've seen it out there in the woods. I just hadn't, most people don't know we have huckleberry bushes in Florida. I thought they was just always in the Pacific Northwest. So, but I think they're opportunists, just like a bear. And I believe they rummage through dumpsters and garbage cans and stuff. One of the sightings in Ocala National Forest was a Bigfoot. It was about 6 a.m. and it was coming from a area where there's a few houses, like a subdivision. And it crossed the road. When it crossed the road, 3 people almost hit it. And so they had to like slam on their brakes, because this thing just came across the road, but it came from where the houses were. Probably going through garbage cans, looking for food, sitting around, dog food, maybe cat food.
Send it here. Send it here. I won't have a trash bill. I'm sorry. I just had to.
It's okay.
Good.
So you got, wild hogs. Of course, they would eat. Down in Mayaca, there was a guy and his son who saw a skunk ape walk through a marsh at Mayaca State Park. And they tried to go out there to see what it was, but it was water, water in the marsh. But what they saw was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hogs with broken legs laying out there.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. And that's another belief theory, is that they will break the legs of deer or hogs or whatever.
I've seen it personally, yes.
To keep them from running off, right? You just go break a leg and then it's not going to run off. You can go and do something else, So, yeah. So that has, seen here. And of course, deer. But they probably eat snakes too, and alligators.
Right. John Stewart, he said, when you were talking about the ball of light, he said, did you hear noise when you saw the lights?
None.
None. Okay.
None. Hey, John. Now, John's got a really cool story outside of Tampa. Randy, you know Hillsborough State Park?
Yes, I do very well.
Okay, John Stewart had a sighting right there in the ditch along 301 of a whitish Bigfoot.
Really?
Yes, and there have been a total of 4 reported sightings of the whitish Bigfoot around that area. Mm-hmm.
I lived in Florida 15 years and never thought about Bigfoot one time being there.
Yeah.
I knew the skunk ape was there, and stuff like that. But if I'd have known it was in Wesley Chapel, I'd have been on a hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was down in Alligator Alley, just as you're coming out of Route 57 and you're going into Miami. There's an Indian post right there, Indian trading post.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled my bus because I was going to Miami and then to Key West to pick up my bands. And I pulled in there and I pulled my bus around and I parked. And it's my bus. I can smoke on it, but just better when you don't. I got out, get a little breath of fresh air. I lit my cigarette and I hear, and I hear that clack and I'm going, oh, I know what the hell that is. And then I got that smell. And I look at my watch. I go, boy, look at the time. And I start eating back to the park, And I'm like, gotta grab this last drag. And I'm looking all over because there's no lights. And I'm thinking, I'll get killed and nobody know I was here but my bus. Pulled out. So on the way back, I told my band, they said, come on, Ray, let's stop. I'm like, no, I'm not stopping. My luck, he'll kill all you and I'll be captive somewhere. No, I'm not going.
I've heard the gibberish. I've heard the gibberish in the Everglades too.
And people say Bigfoot does not have a voice. That's crazy because I've heard that gibberish several times in New York and in Tennessee it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and you're like, what in the world is that?
Right. Yeah, I've heard that in the Everglades for sure.
Thank you, because I tell other people that and they go, "You're crazy. Bigfoot don't
Nope.
talk."
Yes,
Yeah,
they do.
does. They have a language. I don't care what anybody says. They have a language. It's
Yeah.
just not tree knocks.
Right. And we know what barred owls sound like. Barred owls can sound like monkeys. They can sound like apes fighting or whatever. So once you're familiar with that sound, when you hear gibberish like that, it's totally different. It's totally different.
Yeah, it's a different than a barn owl or a hoot owl or a screech owl. It's
Right.
almost sounds like those old Martian movies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I heard that right down there just as clear as daylight, and I had that smell. I knew there was more than one.
Yep. And what time of year was that, Randy?
It was well, I was there every month for 2 weeks down in Key West, so I think it was right around March.
Okay.
I started my tour in March. It'd be March, April, May, June, and then because it was so hot down there in Key West, there's no breeze, and you figure there would be with the Atlantic and the Gulf on one side. We're sweltering down there,
Right.
Yeah,
But July, summertime seems to be a really hot time for skunk apes. It must have something to do with those saw palmetto berries. Because, like I said, this is the time of year that they start ripening and the animals start eating them. So,
well, they have the Strawberry Fest in March. You have the Blueberry Fest in March. You got all those fruit fest in March and April. And so that'd be a time for Bigfoot to really be out eating. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, eating those kind of things like strawberries, blueberries, things like that. Yep, for sure.
Mr. Dave.
Yes, Marie. What do you think about gifting?
Oh boy. I know a lot of people don't like it. They don't agree with it. We like the gift.
Okay.
We do. And we've had some success with it. And our favorite gifting item that people won't agree with, but we use Reese's peanut butter cups. Those seem to be a favorite.
That's a treat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And peanut butter, like a jar of peanut butter or whatever. But we'll put out treats and stuff in this one active area that we have. And it's really cool. Tried to put out trail cams out there, and everything died. Everything stopped. My trail cams were zapped last year. They were probably over 100 yards apart from each other. They both got zapped at the exact same time. And it said that no firmware was found available. So how do trail cams lose their firmware?
They don't. The energy sucked out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've had someone tell me that they had the IR punched out.
Oh, wow.
Trail
that's
cam,
interesting. Now that's really cool.
Marie. Go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say a lot of people say that they can not only see it, but they can hear it.
Yeah, probably. Definitely see it, in our opinion, from our experience. But I know that birds love to mess with my trail cams, like woodpeckers. Love them. They're constantly going at it. They're trying to get in it. They're trying to break in it. Is it the light, or are they hearing the mechanism inside? I don't know. But I've had about 3 woodpeckers trying to destroy my trail cams, trying to get in it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe, you may agree, may disagree, trail cams, I don't care where you put them, deer can see those lights. They walk up and they lick the lens. So if a deer or a raccoon can see that, or a mountain lion or panther, Bigfoot can see that light too. Because remember, they've got that sixth and seventh, your six senses. I believe they got more than six senses.
Oh yeah,
because that thing has got to throw a beam of light. Because otherwise, how would it know when to take a picture?
Exactly.
It's like your lights are on at night. What they call it, family lights. You walk in the backyard and they come on, motion lights.
Oh yeah, motion lights. Yeah.
Okay, those make a click.
Right.
And the other reason I'm saying this is I tell the story all the time. I had an uncle who became blind in his late 20s. And we'd be sitting in the kitchen. Now we're in Chicago where there's traffic going on. He go, phone's going to ring. Sure enough, that phone can ring.
Oh my God.
Uncle Dave, how the hell do you do that trick? I do magic. I can't pull that up. He says, I can hear it. I'm like, come on. I can hear it coming down the line and coming into the house.
Wow, that's crazy.
So if he can hear that, what can Bigfoot hear? Because remember, he's using senses that we don't even think about.
Yeah. I mean, it's bothering a woodpecker that is trying to attack my trail cam.
And
the deer that in that area, every day the deer walk by the camera. Every single day. They don't seem to be bothered by it. They don't care. It's like clockwork. They walk past it to go one way, then a little while later they'll go back. I've gotten hogs and raccoons and a bobcat and tons of deer.
I have a buddy he's in North Carolina. He ran into two Bigfoot babies. Wow. And then they found some dead, and they saw a dog man in the woods. Got that on video. But he came up with a really cool structure on how to hide a camera in the tree. And if you're interested in it, I'll tell you afterwards off of camera when we go in the green room. And if you're interested, I'm sure he can hook you up because you wouldn't tell it's a trail cam. And it sits up high enough in a tree that it shoots. And they're going to go back this week to pull all their cameras. And if it works, it'll be $1 million seller for people for hunting Bigfoot and stuff.
So it's not using any kind of IR light?
I don't know how. All I know is he says they won't see it and they won't hear it.
Yeah, well, I would like to know what it's using for a light source for sure.
It's also what it's put into. Actually, I'll tell you what it's put into. It's made into a hornet's nest.
Mm-hmm.
And it hangs on the tree, and I don't know what they put in there or whatever, but it blocks and takes all the sound out because of what it's made inside. So there's no clicking or hearing or anything of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be a pretty great invention. We'll see next week. Matter of fact, he was on Dave's show last night.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. Sean has a question. He says, and then we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more with Marie. But Sean says, do you think the structures you have seen was made by Bigfoot?
Well, number one, we don't say anything was made by Bigfoot because we don't know. We didn't see anything being made, but we have found some strange things. And one of the super weirdest things that we've ever found, outside of Tampa, not too far from 301, not too far from Hillsborough State Park. I'm not telling you in my area. Last year, out in the swamp, I was there with team member Ruby and I, and we find a square structure, which I've never seen before. And it's just propped up between two trees, and it's just 4 sticks. But it's in the shape of a square. Big square, right? Mm-hmm. So that was last winter. And then, when the swamps fill up, everything's, starts getting, watery, and the sticks fell down. And then this past winter, Ruby and I, we always go to this place every couple months, and there was another square structure. And I took a bunch of pictures of it because I'm like, okay, this is really odd. I have never seen this before. And I took a bunch of pictures of it and I compared it to the other photos that I took the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the exact same spot, the exact same trees in the swamp.
Mm.
What is that? What is that? I don't know. That is one of the weirdest things I've ever encountered. It's like, okay, out of the hundreds of acres of swamp, something built another square structure in the exact same spot. What are the odds? It's hard for us for even to find this area. If it was a human, well, hey, they know those swamps better than we do, but it was the craziest thing. So I was talking to Thomas Seward from Sasquatch Island when we went to the Pacific Northwest in June. And I showed him the pictures because I'm like, I don't know what this is. Tell me what you think. And he thinks it's a sign, their sign, like their crest, the sign of their clan is what he thinks it is. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense for the exact same structure to be built 2 years in a row.
Right.
In the exact same tree. So we don't know. We're just taking guesses of, we're speculating, what we think is going on. But I don't know. In the same area, I have also found 2 spots in the mud where 2 small sticks, probably 1.5 feet tall, shoved in the ground. So it was in a line. You got one stick, then you have another stick, and right in front of the other stick is an animal skull, like a raccoon or a possum or something. Mm-hmm. And I found 2 sets of those. Small skull, 2 small sticks. I wish I had a shovel with me because I would have dug it up to see if there was something there that was buried.
Right.
Kind of like a memorial. That's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, God, this just reminds me of a memorial marker.
I've heard that's a dog man and a werewolf grounds. That's how they plot their ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard the dog man. I've heard the dog man lays skulls out, animal skulls, in an area, and I've heard the wolf man, werewolf, does the same thing. I've heard them on sticks. I've heard them on being put on trees that have been busted, like on the broken trunks. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of Bigfoot doing that. I've heard that about the dog man and the werewolf.
And in this, that's odd. And in the same area, there has been reported sightings. We have found 3 prints out there, plus other strange structures. That's the only area that I've ever found a lean-to structure. And so we have found quite a few weird things in that area. So, and
I would love to see those pictures.
Even the park ranger, we have a friend who's a park ranger, and he tells us about sightings as whenever he hears them, he tells us. So, which is a good friend to have.
Oh yeah, park ranger, good friend to have.
Yeah, right. So,
all right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna be talking more Bigfoot.
We're back.
We're back. Where'd Dave go?
I don't know. We're going on with the show anyways.
I'm sorry, but at least the video worked this time, Randy.
Yeah, it worked good, bud.
Yeah. So let me open the chat room back up and let's see where we're at. I don't want to miss any.
Paranormal X Wolfpack has got a question for
her. Let's see. Have you? Okay, let's throw that one up there. Have you ever left an item there to see if it disappears or
etc.
What is that? Oh, etc. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. In that area where the orbs, team member Mike had, who, at the end of the evening, we were getting ready to leave. And so he just happened to have 5 little mini Reese's peanut butter cups. Mm-hmm. And so just for the heck of it, he just put them on a bench that was out there. And he put them, he just laid them out, 3 and then 2, right? So then the next morning we go out there and they're gone. But there was a big mushroom left in its place. So something took the Reese's cups and gifted a mushroom.
So it gifted you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have in our active research area, we put out stuff. We have a teddy bear, and it's teddy bear's been out there for like a year and a half out in the swamp, and they seem to manipulate it every time we're out there. Like we'll set it a specific way. I'll turn it where I'll push it back into a nook of a tree where, its little face is facing out. And every time we go out there, it's always moved. It's always turned around, put on the ground face down. It's always face down. I don't know if the eyes bother it. It creeps it out. I don't know, but it always moves it and it always puts it face down or turns it around. Always.
You ever think about putting a mini cam in it?
And whenever we put any cameras out there, everything stopped. So
maybe you put like a mini cam in the belly of it. One of those nanny cams like they do to catch the nannies,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But again, you'd probably have to have some kind of IR light at night because it's pitch black out there.
Right.
And so yeah, we've had. But anyway, so that area where we have the teddy bear, we put our, the food items or whatever. One weekend, we put our stuff out. We went back the following weekend, and something put a little X structure, about 1 foot tall, 2 sticks, shoved in the ground, and an X right in the middle of our gifting area was left. So
I would say that's a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I don't know any other animals that got thumbs to do that.
Right. Exactly. It was
Have
only
you ever?
like a foot long.
Go ahead.
That's all. It was only like 12 inches long, these sticks.
Right. Have you ever had rocks thrown at you?
No. And we've had a stick thrown at us. Now, rocks, this is going to sound really weird, but we don't have that many rocks in Florida. It's not like you go out. We have sand. It's sugar sand, right? Okay. There really is not that many rocks out there. But there's lots of sticks and stuff like that. So one night we were doing a nighttime investigation in the Green Swamp in this area where we've had kind of like paranormal activity going on. So we all went out there, put chairs out there. Again, we're facing a different direction. We have our night vision, thermal cameras, blah, blah, blah. And so one of our team members was filming. Not much happened, we thought, until we reviewed the video. And in the video, you see something flying across the screen. and it was about 4 inches long. It was like a stick or a ball, 4 inches long. And it flew across the screen and it hit a backpack. So you could hear it thunk, and then you could hear it hit the ground thunk. So we had no idea this happened. We didn't hear it. We didn't see it. Not until we reviewed the video later on. And but we didn't see anything with our night vision. We didn't see anything with our thermal camera. So how close do you have to be to throw a 4-inch long stick? You have to be close, right? What? 10 feet away? Maybe, I don't know how far you could throw a 4-inch little stick. And but it was definitely thrown at us because it was horizontal across the screen. Now, I just heard a story from one of the Seminole tribal members a couple weeks ago, and they were out in an area outside of their they have an Indian reservation not too far from the Green Swamp. And when they were out buzzing around on a 4-wheeler, a tree was thrown at them. Like a tree log came flying out of the woods and across the road at them.
Wow.
So
I've had some pretty big trees thrown at me. I'm talking telephone pole size trees.
Right, exactly.
And
right.
I'm thinking, you don't know where he's at, but these logs are flying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they're a powerful animal. People don't realize that. The things they can, and they're very fast.
Yes.
I'm talking very fast.
Yes.
I have a lot of people call me and say, how can I capture Bigfoot on video?
Mm-hmm.
I said, don't go look for him. Sit around a campfire. Put your cameras facing north, south, east, and west out from each other. Have a good time. Play your guitars. Tell your stories. Roast marshmallows. And if he wants to see you, he will come close enough.
Right.
You might see a black shadow. But at least you know Bigfoot was there.
Right.
When you go out and look for them, you're not going to find them. It's their job. They don't want to be seen. And the Bigfoot during the daytime are scouting for the Bigfoot at night to hunt.
Right.
And the Indians have told me this many times on the Onondaga Reservation in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Indian tribe in California told me the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, go out and have a good time. Sit around the campfire, but place your cameras north, south, east, and west, facing out. You may not see the big, or you'll see some come walking by, but you'll catch something. If he's interested, he'll find you. You don't have to find him.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mustang Bill says armchair squatching is the best way. I do a lot of that. I agree.
Probably, but I prefer to be out. I love being out in nature, and there's nothing better for the soul for me is on a Saturday or Sunday going out in the morning and just spend a couple hours out there. Sure, I'm looking for Bigfoots or skunk apes, but I'm also looking for mushrooms. I'm looking at flowers. I'm looking for animals. Just being away from people, away from the big city. And, I have to be out every weekend. Mm-hmm. I have to. And so that's just the way I research. But yeah, some people do a lot of armchair, researching. We need those people too. So
I've got a question for you. Coyotes are large in Florida, and you know this.
Mm-hmm.
You'll hear a pack of coyotes. They're yelling and barking. All of a sudden, a quietness come over you. Everything comes to a halt. Now, we've gone out there on 4-wheelers because my buddies hunt for wild pigs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see a blood matter, but we found dead coyotes.
Wow.
Now,
yeah.
Are the coyotes hunting for Bigfoot, or is he just stealing their food?
Yeah, I don't know, because coyotes steal food, so.
Well, why would you find a couple dead coyotes and nothing's there? You see there's blood there, but they were in a pack, and all of a sudden they just stopped that chirping.
Right, right. So they were trying to steal something of Bigfoot's, I guess. So,
My buddies who hunt pigs say that the coyotes are the hunting dogs for Bigfoot. They truly believe that. I don't believe that, but I've seen what they're saying.
Right.
And their dogs will attack a pig in a heartbeat. But their dogs won't go where those coyotes have been.
Yes.
So why won't those dogs go where those dead coyotes have been?
So they, I would think a Bigfoot would probably follow coyotes, because coyotes are going to do that kind of thing. They're going to attack something, and then the Bigfoot probably will try and steal it from the coyotes, and then it could get ugly, and there could be lives lost in the coyote world. I could see that happening for sure. Mm-hmm.
Sean says, have you ever thought about putting a tracking device in something that it may be interesting in taking to see where it may lead? It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I don't know that much about tracking devices. I mean, I've seen them used on like Expedition Bigfoot and stuff like that. But as far as what to get, I don't know what to get. And then I don't know what's involved in that kind of thing. But most of the time, except for the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, most of the time, we're not having something taken from us. So we would have to set it up where it would just attach itself to a Bigfoot and then be carried off. Just like on Expedition Bigfoot. So I don't know. I just don't know that much about them. But yes, I would love to have that.
Mm-hmm. Randy?
Little sticky tack.
Sticky tack.
Have you ever seen those things that you can put on? You put them on your dogs, and you can GPS them from your phone.
No.
Well, they make a little GPS. It's about the size of a quarter, and if your dog gets away, people use them for their kids too. They put them in their backpacks.
Okay.
They're like $35. Now I don't know if you could put that on a sticky tack or something like where it reach for food or have to reach in or
right.
Or something they'd have to brush against something. I mean, I don't know how you get it on them, but maybe put it in a teddy bear or something that they would pick up, or a piece of meat they might pick up and track it. It's more likely he'll bite it and spit it out.
Right.
Well,
because we don't have all those like dense trees like on the Pacific Northwest. We can just like easily hang something, and you won't notice it. Well,
right.
Out in the swamps, cypress trees and stuff like that, they're real scrawny. They're just tall and thin and scrawny, and good luck trying to hang up something on a cypress tree.
Yeah, because of all the moss that's hanging off the trees.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer this one for Sean. Put that in something of food. It may eat it. That's your answer, Sean. I can just see it.
I could stick it in peanut butter, but I would probably spit it out,
Now, I could tell you,
attaching on their fur in some way would be the best way, probably, because they're just going to spit it out. I don't know.
If you could get some liquid tranquilizer, I've told this to TV shows.
Wow, that's interesting.
And they have put it on boards with nails.
Wow.
And different stuff, with it. They rub it on there, and he will go night-night. My grandfather used to put it on raw chicken in Tennessee when he'd go out into the in the dump area. He'd take raw chicken. I said, Grandpa, what's that for? Keep the bears happy. I didn't know. They call it the hairy man. But as I got older, he said, if you want to catch a hairy man, you have to put him to sleep. And moonshiners, they say, and my grandfather were all big in moonshine, my uncles were, Bigfoot would eat the grain. And he said, they never did that because they didn't want one to be stuck there. But he took grain and put it out there and rubbed a little on there and put enough on there to put him to sleep for 10 or 15 hours. Don't take a lot. That'd be a way to catch one to really get some good pictures.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Because the guys,
it depends on how long they'd have to be put to sleep for. I mean, you have to be able to monitor that area on a daily basis to see if you can find a sleeping Bigfoot somewhere. Our areas, we can't. We have jobs, we work, we have lives. Even though we're out there once a week at least, it's still, if you're doing a tranquilizing thing, then that's going to knock them out for 10 hours. Well, you have to be out there a lot.
Well, if you're out there camping, and you're sitting your Reese bars out there, a little dribble on there, and then sit back, and we'll come back in a couple hours and see if the big boy's laying on the bench.
Right.
The video that you've seen, you can see it on YouTube, where they caught Bigfoot in a cage.
Yeah.
Ever seen that? And then Bigfoot's like hovering down. They took a blood sample. Well, they asked me, they wanted me to go on that hunt with them. I said, look, I'm not going there. It ain't going to happen, but here's how you can do it. They did the deer meat inside the cage, and that's how supposedly they caught Bigfoot, by putting the knockout juice on there. He ate it. The alarm went off. They shut the door, and they caught it. Now, to me, it looked like Harry and the Hendersons, but again, I wasn't there to see this. And the next morning, it escaped. The guy felt bad. He says he opened the door. I got Bigfoot in the cage. I'm not opening the door.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. What did John ask? John Stewart asked a question.
He said, no, that wouldn't be a good idea. We all know what Taco Bell can accomplish. So imagine that. Oh, my God. Me personally, I would not want to be around a Bigfoot that just ate Taco Bell. No.
Yeah, well. Hey, I mean, I'm sure they eat anything, just like bears would, right? Opportunists.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to come back to Florida and do an investigation with you guys.
Oh, God. Anytime. You come down.
I would love to come back and do an investigation.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime. Just let me know when you're here.
I just got to get some high waiter boots because you guys got way too many snakes on the ground for me.
Yeah, well, we wear our knee-high snake-proof boots, to help from getting, bit. And then, but this time of year, you got water. So then you have to wear rubber boots to deal with the water. And then hope to God you don't get bit by a water moccasin in the process. And,
or an alligator sitting down there stuck on stupid in a little bit of water.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm more scared of snakes. Snakes are a big thing. And hogs. Those are the two things. When I panic when I see a hog or a snake. And
a lot of hogs in Florida. A lot of hogs.
We've stepped on rattlesnakes. We've stepped on water moccasins before. Not fun. Luckily, we didn't get bit, but it's happened. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Florida's got a lot of people to meet you.
This is the first time for me asking this question.
Okay.
Actually, I don't recall anyone recently asking this question. I'm sure, somebody may have. If you and your group was to find a deceased Bigfoot body, would you go public?
Would I go public? No.
I didn't think so.
No. I would contact a bunch of people about it, right. And to find out what's the best approach, because obviously I wouldn't want to turn it over to any kind of authority. But then but you have to find people that you trust who are not going to do that.
Right.
And so I would find a way to store it, probably. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know. Maybe at some point I could make it go public. I would do that. But initially, no. I would just rely on specific people to help, with
Right.
science labs and scientists and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
People that some people trust.
I personally
What would you do?
would, I would do the same thing you just said, because if you got the government or the the government involved, I mean, they already don't want us to know about a lot of different things. Bigfoot. I'm sure they, I've read a number of reports that they have Bigfoots and they've experimented with them, and
Yep.
I just don't think it would be a good idea to go public. Yeah.
No.
Well,
No,
the
because
press-
number one, they're going to take it, period.
Oh,
They will
definitely.
take it. So why tell any kind of authority or military or the police? Why? Unless you want it gone. But no, if I
I
had
hold
it.
a press conference and let everybody see it. Then they would all find out.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
if they take it, well, hey, it's already been in the news, guys. Do what you got to do. You know?
Sean
Yeah.
said you'd have to have a big freezer to keep him on ice. Who said it was going to be a him? And we're going to bring it to your house, Sean.
And I know of a house that has a bunch of big freezers, so I'm okay there. I got the freezers figured out. I got that.
There you go.
It's just what you do with that, with it. That's the problem. Trying to find the people that you trust. Like I said, no military, no police, no nothing. And I wouldn't tell many of my friends either. Because the more people that know, the word's going to spread, and then they're going to find out. The police,
Oh, yeah.
the military are going to find out. We don't want that. So they already know anyway.
Yeah, they've already got one on file.
Yeah.
Oh,
From
I'm
Mount
sure they
St.
got one more.
Helens, I think there was even some new ones from Oregon, from the fires going on in Oregon. I think there was another body found. So
Sean said, "Bring it."
Oh,
I got
Randy,
a
what do you
question
have?
for you. Last night I was watching a brand new show on ancient aliens. Here I watch a lot of this ancient aliens and stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yep. Mhm.
And Giorgio, I can never say his last name, so I'm not going to go there. The guy that's got the
Superboy.
real hair, yeah.
Yeah, I've met him before. Giorgio
All right.
Superboy.
He says on his show that he did last night that he believes that Bigfoot is a shapeshifter.
Why? Why does he say that?
I have no idea. Do you believe that? I don't believe that. I believe it's more alien type, but because it's been around since the ancient Incas and everybody else, Bigfoot has. But he says he believes it's a shapeshifter.
That's interesting. I wonder why. Maybe he's saying that just because at times when there's been aliens that have been seen, there's also been Bigfoot that have been seen.
Mhm.
Maybe that's
Well-
why he's saying that. I don't
Now
know.
I don't know about you, but I'm going to ask you this question again, Dave. It'll be my last question I'll ask. But you know yourself, I've seen these TV shows, Skinwalker Ranch.
Yep.
I've seen a Bigfoot on their show that actually will look like a predator going across their property.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, I've seen that. I put it on the thing. I reported it. When you're chasing Bigfoot through the woods and you come to an open field and the footprints stop.
Hmm.
Now, I don't think he jumped that 250 yards to the next tree or to that woods. I believe he's going through portals and go from point A to point B. Your theory on that? What do you think?
It's possible. I mean, when you try to figure that out, that seems to be the only explanation. It's like, why did they stop here? Why? They just end. It disappeared somewhere. It couldn't have gone any further because there would have been more tracks or whatever. I mean, we found that even in the Green Swamp. We found a gator prints. The gator had walked down a path and then just poof. No more prints down the road. And it's like, where did it go?
Right.
Did something pick it up and carry it off?
Right.
Could be. Don't know.
Well, I mean, you're taking a 18-inch, 20-inch foot, and it's in the snow or in the mud, and you're tracking it, goes to a field and just gone.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's been sightings in the Ocala National Forest of campers out there in their tents at night, and all of a sudden they wake up like 3 or 4 in the morning with this white beam of light shining on their tent, coming from above.
Right.
They were terrified because they're like, what the hell? We're out here by ourselves. What is this? And I know somebody who's had that happen twice out there. And like I said, Ocala National Forest is a hot spot for Bigfoot activity. That's where I've had my vocalization. Something has walked next to me out there in the daytime when I was out there with 2 friends. We were walking down my favorite path. We were leaving, and to the left, we could hear something walking with us, maybe 10 feet away. And I kept looking over because I kept hearing every step we took, it took.
Right.
And you hear the crunching, la, 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 la. But it's not thick or dense. You can see right through the trees. This is daytime. Nothing was there. And this kept happening. And I turned around to my friends. I said, okay, I'm done. I said, I don't know about you, but I swear something is walking with us. And they said, to the left. And I said, yes. So they heard the exact same thing. So something was walking next to us in the daytime that we could not see.
I truly believe they could be invisible when they want to.
Yes. I do believe that.
George Lunsford, on his last thing that they went on in their hunt, he said they weren't in the woods 5 minutes and something was doing the same thing to them.
Yeah.
And they kept saying, okay, is this a Bigfoot? We'll keep walking. Well, they took their cameras and they were scanning, which everybody scans real fast. I don't know why.
Right.
You know, I'm a slow, maybe because I was in the movie business and stuff. You scan slow, you know, pan slow.
Yep.
These guys are like, hang.
Exactly.
Well, they got when they went home and looked at the video, they had a dog man that was following them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it peeking around the trees. You can see the ears, the snout. And I says, what'd you do? He said, look at the time. I think we got to go. He said, you know, because a dog man is supposed to be vicious, will kill people.
Yeah.
He says, but if I would have saw that, I'd have been out of there. But we didn't know that till after we got home and looked at the footage.
Yeah. You know, I do believe they have capabilities that we don't. I mean, that would be considered probably supernatural. You know, maybe the ability to cloak. You know, maybe they can disappear. They can disappear into a portal or whatever. I do believe they have abilities that we would consider to be supernatural. The ability to disappear or cloak, for instance. So
the thing I sent into Skinwalker, it was cloaking. It looked like Predator.
Mm-hmm.
It walked in front of the window, behind the window of the building, but when it came out, it was shimmering and just disappeared.
Right.
But you can see the Bigfoot movement. You know what I'm saying? The swaying arms and the legs. And if you watch it, it's like a 15-second clip you get to see of this Bigfoot shimmering and just disappear. I mean, into thin air.
Mm-hmm. And we're not woo-woo investigators, okay? So I'm just going to put that out there because there's some people who, you know, we just aren't. But we have had paranormal stuff happen while we've been out there, and which we cannot explain. But we don't go looking for paranormal stuff at all. It just happens. I've heard my voice being said in the green swamp. I've had the funniest thing is the time, this has happened twice, where I walk up to a X structure and one of my ex-boyfriends calls me at that exact moment on my phone. And I answer the phone and I'm like, hello? And they're like, you call me. What do you want? And I'm like, no, I didn't call you. Yeah, you did. No, you didn't. We do this back and forth. But what are the odds of me walking up to a X structure and my phone calling ex-boyfriends? That happened twice. Twice in the
Yeah,
great.
there's something spooky there.
Something's going on there. Something's really going on there. But like I said, we have had paranormal stuff happen. Can't explain it. So is it possible that Bigfoot could be cloaking or standing behind us or something? Absolutely. I do believe that's true. I just want them to show themselves. I want to see it. I want to see them.
I think if you stood out there and said, look, I'm not here to hurt you.
Yeah, we do. We do that.
Show you big ass Timmy. Come on now. So I can go home and rest. We get this over with.
Yeah, we do. We do talk to them all the time.
Have a nice day.
Yep, we talk to them all the time. We're not here to hurt you. We just want to see what you look like. La 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 la. You know. So I don't know.
John says, have you had a humming or buzzing in your ear or head when investigating?
Humming or buzzing in my ear? No. But for me, being a paranormal investigator, I feel pain in my temple, my right temple, whenever I'm in an area where there's paranormal activity, when there may be some kind of when something's getting ready to happen, I'll feel it here. So I don't hear, buzzing. I don't get, I haven't been hit by infrasound. Mike has several times, and but it's not a sound for me, but it's more of a pain, sharp pain right here. Everybody's different,
Myra, the one who does the Bigfoot investigations,
Mm-hmm.
Her team's always getting sick.
Always getting sick?
Yeah, they're always getting sick. The older guy with the beard, he's out on the hill, and he's always getting sick. He said, he smells a Bigfoot, he hears something, but he's always getting sick. It's making him sick. Wow. I have heard that before from other people who have investigated Bigfoot, saying they've gotten sick, or they've got a sound wave that hit them that made them sick. They got bad headaches. I've never experienced that. Have you ever experienced that?
No, Mike has. Yeah, he's gotten hit by an infrasound where it made him physically sick, like he was throwing up.
Right.
Kind of thing. And
I've had that happen, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's had that happen, I think, 3 times. So he's very sensitive. He's really good at finding spots for us to research. So am I. But he gets feelings. When he's in an area and he starts getting like sounds or pressure in his head when we're around an area where there's potentially something around, and he's usually right. So
yeah,
and Ruby hasn't, but I don't know. The majority of the time, I think it goes for the males. I think they're threatened. They probably smell the testosterone, so they're a threat. I don't know. I've never been bothered by it, but Mike has 3 times. So why not? Why not us? I don't know.
Well, when I was hit with it, I just left because there was no sense in trying to recover. I just got out of there, physically sick and just left. I didn't walk away for a while and try to turn around and go back in. And I really don't think you can. I mean, if it hits you and you go out and you recover a little bit, you walk back in, I think it's just going to hit you twice as bad.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. So, yeah, no. So maybe it is testosterone. Maybe, and Mike he's younger, so he's, just viral and just manly and, he just oozes testosterone, so maybe Do they pick up on that?
Could be.
An alpha male would be threatened, right? Probably by someone like him in the area with all that testosterone. I don't know. We can only speculate.
Well, you could be right. You could be right about that.
Marie, here's a good question for you. The 1967 Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin Bigfoot, real or fake?
I say real.
You say it's real. Okay.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I think it's real.
I think it's
I
real.
think it's real. Mm-hmm.
I've had people, oh, it's a suit. Oh, somebody sewed together a bunch of footballs together, or oh, there's pillows and all that. No, no. You look at it, you can see the muscles. You can see that's not pillows stuffed in a suit. If you've ever seen anybody wearing a suit, it's obvious they're wearing a suit. I mean,
and you got to look at it. You got to look at it this way too. Back in 1967, how likely was it to make a good suit?
No, not at all. And there is no way a man would make a female Bigfoot suit and wear it. Right?
Right.
No way. If you were to make a suit, you wouldn't be adding breasts to it. You would just do a male because you're a male, right? I personally don't think that a man back in 1967 made a suit but he definitely wanted it to have breasts. No, I don't believe that 1 minute. No,
I agree with you. I believe that film was real.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the muscles on it.
Yep.
It walked. I mean, it was looking around. First of all, look where they were walking at. You know how hard it is to walk in those rocks in that little canyon of water?
Right.
You let me in a suit and see how many times I fall down.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's just like David Shealy's Skunk Ape, famous film back in July 8th of 2000. I mean, it was in July. So people think that, it's just a guy in a suit walking in the grass. Number one, they don't know squat about the Everglades.
Yeah.
If you've ever been in the Everglades and the sawgrass out there, it's at least 2 feet of water in July, at least. And there's holes, there's sticks, there's gators, there's sharks, there's stingrays, there's all kinds of crap in there. And this skunk ape, ran from a hammock and it ran all the way through a swamp, a sawgrass marsh. And it just went straight. It just ran. It ran like fast as a deer. It didn't even look down. It just plowed through the water. And at the very end, it went extremely fast. And people are like, it's just a guy in a suit running in the grass. No, it's not. There's no way. At that time of year, with the temperature, the humidity, it was 109.5 degrees at that time of that sighting. So with the heat, the humidity, the amount of water there, wearing a suit and running a half a mile across the sawgrass marsh without tripping or falling, a human would do that. The weight of the water on a suit would weigh that person down. There is no way they could do it.
Exactly.
No way. And we did 2 reenactments of it. We tried, and we couldn't do it in the winter time during the dry season when it was drier out there. We couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
So people see when they won't believe it. That's what you got to look at.
Correct.
Here's 2 photos pulled today from Florida. If they're real, I can't. I don't know. I'm just going to put them up there. Here's number 1.
Yep, that's David Shealy's video.
That's what we're talking about right there.
That's it.
David Shealy. Okay.
That's it. Mm-hmm. That sawgrass is usually around 3 feet, but it can get up to 8-9 feet tall. Okay.
It's like razors.
Oh yeah, that's sharp. that is sharp. It's also the dead grass just falls and it stacks up in the mud. So you have, in addition to just dealing with the water, you got to step through this dead grass.
Mm-hmm.
Again, another obstacle. You're going to trip and fall out there. If you're wearing a suit, running as fast as you can for at least a half a mile, when it's 109.5 degrees out there, no.
Not going to be done. Not going to be
No.
done.
Sorry, it's not going to be done. Like I said, we couldn't do it in the wintertime.
Right. All right. Here's number. That first one I just showed, I didn't even notice that earlier. The name up in the left-hand corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's number 2.
That was in the same area, I believe. I think that was the Everglades.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that one. But I know that, I think that's one of the Everglades sightings, like around Ochopee, Turner River Road, not too far from David's Skunk Ape headquarters. And I think that's where that was captured at. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I wrote it down, but I don't have it in front of me. It's across the room. John Stewart says, have you had any DNA tests done, and what's the outcome of it, if any?
No, we have not had any DNA testing done. Number one, it costs money. It costs a lot of money. And the problem is there's nothing to compare it to. I mean, practically every single DNA test that's ever been done, it always comes back as unknown or human, because there's nothing to compare it to. You don't have a baseline. Okay, this is Bigfoot DNA. Okay, now let's compare it and see if it matches this Bigfoot DNA. We don't have that. The government does, but we don't have that anywhere. So it's just, to me, it's a waste of money right now until we can get a baseline to compare it against.
Ray, I think that's their way of hiding the truth from us.
Yes, absolutely.
It's unknown. We can't tell what it is. They know what it is. They just don't want to tell you what it is. You say, "Hey, I've proven I've got Bigfoot DNA," and then where would the government be?
Right, exactly. And then you got to find a lab that you trust, that it's not going to mysteriously disappear.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading that people have sent out samples and not gotten it back.
Correct.
And then when they contacted who they sent it to, they're like, I don't know anything about that.
Right. It's like, what? Huh? Well, it's been misplaced or whatever. Yep. That happens all the time. You hear that all the time. I think in the new episode of the new season of Expedition Bigfoot, I think they do collect some DNA and they send it off to a lab, but I don't know what the real results are.
Unknown. They're not going to tell us if they do the end. Their shows end. It's called a ratings thing.
Right.
If they finding Bigfoot, if they find them, everybody's out of a job. It's over with, Murray. It's like mountain monsters, Alaskan monsters.
It ain't, well, it's not. It's over for some people. I still want to have a sighting. I would still continue doing my thing, Because I love it. I love it.
I've had so many sightings, it's not funny. Since I was like 5 years old.
Right.
And people say, oh, you're so full of shit. Well, you know something? You may think that, but I know what I saw. I know what I've smelt. I know what it was. I've been 15 feet away from it when I was a kid, looking out the bedroom window and it's eating persimmons off the tree, telling me to stay away from the wood pile. It didn't say, Randy, stay away from there. It was like this mental telepathy.
Yep.
Stay away. It's dangerous.
Yep.
Oh, Bigfoot doesn't have those powers.
Heard that happen too. Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot has those powers. You all can believe what you want to believe.
Yes.
Yes. I know what I saw. I'll go to my dying grave saying that, and I don't care if anybody believes me or not. And I can tell you right now, I tell people all the time, you want to see a Bigfoot? I can tell you exactly where to go and see when he's been there for years. Last time I seen him was 2016 of November, and he stole 2 deer off our pods. They were skinning. We seen him. My 2 cousins shot at him going up the hill with the deer. You know, he's there, but no one ever wants to go down to see that real Bigfoot. I called what's that guy Meldrum, Jeff Meldrum?
Yes.
I said, hey, you want to see a Bigfoot? I can tell you where to go. What are you going to pay me? I ain't paying you nothing to go see what you want to see.
Right.
Pay me for the information after you see what I've told you to go see. And there is one there. I tell everybody to go there. No one ever goes because I think they're really afraid to
That's
see
crazy.
what their eyes won't believe.
I want to see it. But I'm sure you probably thought people were full of crap before you got into this, too. I mean, that's everybody's outlook. It's like, oh, you're full of crap. And then poof, all of a sudden they have a sighting. And now they're like, oh, my God, I never thought in a million years, that I would ever see something like that.
My very first sighting of Bigfoot was in a cornfield with my grandfather. He was plowing the field. And I always like to ride the mule back to the barn.
Mm-hmm.
And it started lightning and thundering, before it does that rain, that heat lightning stuff. My grandfather says, you can't ride it, you'll get struck by lightning. So we're walking back with the mule, and all of a sudden the mule stops, and he's going the other way. And Bigfoot was shaking the barn door on the barn. My grandfather grabbed me by the hand and ran me across that cornfield, which was just dirt because he was plowing it. My feet were dancing the tips of my feet were dancing off the dirt across the road to the house. And the Bigfoot, they call it the hairy man, ripped the door off the house, and my grandfather shot him in the chest.
Oh, my God.
4 times. It fell back. Lightning was striking. I see it fall back. I'm sitting in the living room. They went out with flashlights. There was no footprints because the ground's hard. It hadn't rained yet. Mm-hmm. No blood, no Bigfoot, no hairy man. And he's been there since I've been a little kid. Right. And we were never allowed to get off the porch. And you'd hear that. It sounded like a woman screaming sometimes. That's a panther that escaped from the woods, they would tell us. He got the train turned over from the circus, and we weren't allowed to get off the porch. And my grandmother used to kill a chicken and put it on the well as a peace offering. And as I got older, my grandfather said he was watching over you kids. And he goes, I think that's why he came to the door, ripped the door off the hinges because he thought I was hurting you. Because Bigfoot, he says, the hairy man likes kids. He doesn't hurt kids.
Right.
And I've always believed that. And I've seen him since I was 5 years old, twice in Tennessee as a kid.
Wow.
And I got bit by a snake in the top of my hand where Bigfoot told me not to go. My parents said, you were dreaming. That was a bear out there. And I know what I saw, those big red glowing eyes. You know what I'm saying? And no one would take that away from me. And the smell was like a dead animal with a wet dog.
Right. Yep. That's awesome. You've had some great encounters.
I've had some very good encounters. And I don't have to look for him. He's always looked for me.
Right. And you're in a good area. I mean, our area is a little harder, but it's like here in Florida.
Yeah. You guys in Florida got it hard because, like you said, there are no rocks. It's all that crystal sand, sugar sand, snakes, nasty weather, rains on you. Yeah, it's
mosquitoes. Yeah.
Well,
in Vegas.
I've been all over Florida, and I did not know that. I mean, I've traveled through Orlando, a lot of parts of Florida, just traveling, but I've never gone into the woods there. So I learned something tonight. No sand.
The swamps. I love the swamps. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
place.
But I just kind of figured rocks were everywhere.
No.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
Dave, I lived in Largo, a mile off the beach, and I was putting grass in. I was, raking the grass. I was finding seashells, all kinds of stuff in the yard. Like, what the hell is this? Hundreds of them. I'm a mile from the beach.
Yeah, like we don't have the river rocks, these creeks and the stuff that you guys have. Nothing.
So basically, you can put a stockade fence up with no problem.
Well, you got to deal with the, limestone.
I remember many a times putting stockade fence up. This rock. Bang, 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 chop, chop, chop. You know?
Not in Florida.
Nope. So like the Jennings thing I was telling you about in February, it actually made the cover of the Bigfoot Times newsletter in March 2024. Daniel Perez reached out to me because he was like, "Who found that print?" And I said, "I did." So I found a print. It was 16 inches by.
It's not showing it. It made me disappear.
What, you have one too?
Yeah, Bigfoot Times from Daniel. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Got
mine's on the wall.
Yeah.
Mine's on the wall back there. So the prints were 16 inches long with a 54-inch stride. Mm-hmm. And they went at least a quarter of a mile. But it was in sugar sand that had kind of, it was like a forest road, service road. Mm-hmm. So it was sugar sand mixed with clay, and it looked like it had been tilled not too long ago, so it was kind of chunky. But it had rained lightly before we got there, and I wish we would have found these before it had rained. But you could still see the prints. You could see them, but you could see where they were like kind of pitted from the rain hitting it. So the sugar sand kind of got a little bit hard, so it kind of wore away at the print a little bit. But you could see the prints. You could definitely see them. We followed them all the way down to a creek.
Marie, the one you have on the wall back here, is that July?
March,
okay.
March 2024.
March 2024. Okay, let me make a note of that. I'll pull that one.
March 2024.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was.
I came up
and then we had the encounter at the campground at night. Same night after we got back, because I found the print. I had my little crappy flashlight, and I was like, crap. I mean, we couldn't follow this. We didn't have any equipment or anything, so we stuck 2 sticks in the ground where 2 of the prints were. And we went back the next morning, so we could go out the next morning, we could find the prints easily, right? But at night, like I said, I was car camping. Something was walking bipedal heavy. I have a brand new Subaru. So when the windows are up, it's pretty soundproof. This thing was like boom, 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 boom. It just seemed like it was walking just back and forth alongside my car. And then it pushed my tailgate, the back of the car. And I was like this. I was like, whoa, what the heck is that? And then when it got daylight, I went down to the next campsite where Mike and Chris were at. Mike comes out of his tent and he's like, man, we didn't sleep at all last night. He says, we heard something heavy bipedal walking around our tents. And I was like, oh my God, I just had that happen at my car. And so we compared stories and we're like, oh my God. So did something see me out there when we found the print? And it followed us back to the campsite? Probably. I'm the one who found the print. I'm the one who got my car pushed. Don't know. Coincidence?
No, I believe Bigfoot was on you.
Yeah, I think he saw me and he followed.
Yeah.
He followed us, and so he was just like, push the car.
Well, thank God you didn't open up the window or get out.
Well, I had shades on the windows, but I had my doors unlocked. It could have easily opened my door.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was an amazing experience. That's like one of the best, encounter thing that I've had so far.
Now you wish you had a backup camera on your Subaru.
Like I said, I had window blinds and everything up. I had, the windows were totally blacked out. And but everybody's like, oh, you should, why don't you have a trail cam up? Come on, you're not thinking about putting up trail cams in the campsite. Personally, I'd rather have the experience
Yes.
And not getting anything because I have a trail cam out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the experience of that.
Well, if it was a bear that clawed your car, bears are known to open up the doors, which Bigfoot could too. But, you've heard stories about the guy in the van that he got caught in the mud.
Yep.
Bigfoot was rocking his van back and forth,
Right.
peeking in. And, if he wanted to, he could have rolled your car over in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Ripped your door off. He was just interested in you.
Yeah, he was interested in me. He was just walking right back and forth this side, and then he pushed the car, and then he left. That was it.
And more than likely, if it would have been a bear, he'd been climbing on your hood, on
Yes.
the top of your roof of your car.
Yes.
Trying to get in the doors because they're looking for food. They smell stuff.
Correct.
He was just interested in you. Yeah, you had a Bigfoot, I don't know, sighting, but you had a Bigfoot moment.
Yes, definitely. So that was amazing. And that's a place, though, it's really nice. I mean, it's better than I ever expected. I've never been to Jennings State Forest, and but it's really nice. And I had no expectations. I'm like, okay, let's go camping. Let's go do some Bigfooting. But did I think I would find anything out there? Have an encounter? No. It just all happened.
You weren't looking for it.
I wasn't looking for it. I was just out there to camp with friends, right?
That's because you weren't looking for it. He'll find you when you're not looking for him. That's what I tell people all the time.
Right.
Now they've ripped up the door. Well, that'd have been a different story, but he was just there to check you out, make sure what you were looking at. And I don't think they're really vicious animals. I think they're nosy about us.
Correct. I agree. He could have destroyed my car. He could have gotten me if he wanted to. He didn't. But he wanted me to know he was there.
And bears don't heavy foot walk, so it was something that was bipedal, walking back and forth, checking you out, saying, okay, this is a woman that's being nosy over here, and I'm going to let her know. It's time for her to go. Move along a little lady.
Time to scare her.
Yeah.
Yes. Get her out of here. She found my prints. She's on to me.
Marie?
Yes.
Have you written any books, or if not, do you plan on writing any books?
No, I'm not. I'm a terrible writer, I think. I don't really enjoy writing. But I will write blogs on my website, like research things. Like I just wrote one about dwarf huckleberries in Florida, Okay. I just wrote something about that. I rewrote and edited. David Shealy has a skunk ape field guide that he came out with probably 30 years ago, and he just let it die. And so I decided to take it and expand on it to resurrect it. And now it's like a 32-page little booklet. I added pictures. I added more material to it. It's a good little book. So do I want to write a book? No. Not right now.
Something, Bigfoot experiences, only people who believe in Bigfoot will believe it. Mm-hmm. The other people think we're all crazy.
Yes.
And then you get people who believe in Bigfoot will try to, if your book is really good, try to destroy it, debunk you all the way, debunk it. It's not worth writing a book anymore.
No, and everybody writes books. Everybody's written books. So, I don't know. Just
maybe do a newsletter.
A newsletter. Yeah. I don't know. I guess my blog is kind of, and my Facebook group, I'm always posting questions, articles, things, sharing things. So I guess I'm writing, right? I'm doing it in my own way, which is through my Facebook group page and my website. So I do that there.
So you're basically writing a little novel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I come up with ideas, thoughts just pop in my head, and I'm like, oh, okay, that'd be a good article to write about. Like I did one last year about safety, about meeting people online, like in a Facebook group, where they want you to, hey, you want to go out in the woods this weekend? You know, when you're a female, it's scary out there. It's dangerous. So I did an article about being careful, what to do and what not to do when you're meeting somebody new out in the field, you know, from social media.
And that can go for a male too.
Yes, could be anybody. Could be anybody. But I felt the need to do that because I did have a couple of group members who did have weird problems with a couple people that they had met online. So I was like, I need to do this just to remind people what to do and what not to do. Make sure you tell somebody where you're going.
Right.
Carry some kind of weapon with you. Stuff like that.
Marie, let me ask you this. What is the main piece of advice you would give a new researcher that wants to do what you do?
Well, I started all by myself. I had never been out in the woods before, in the swamps before. I just did it. I just started doing it, because I didn't have anybody else to go with. So I had to go out by myself. But just go. Start off with baby steps. Go to a park and walk down a road. I'm not saying you have to go wandering off in the bushes like I do. But you just have to get used to what it's like being out there. Most people think you're going to get attacked by alligators, bears, Florida panthers, snakes. These things, you have to be aware of them. But once you go out there, then you're like, oh, okay, they're not out there that much. You don't have to worry about that too much. Of course, you have to make sure you're wearing the proper attire. If you're in Florida doing research, you better wear snake boots. That's all I have to say about that.
That's right.
Have to. So, get yourself some good snake boots and just start small. Just go to your local park and just take a walk and start getting used to being out in nature to see what that's like. The sounds you're going to hear. Get used to that. That's what I would recommend. What would you guys say?
I agree with you. Start off small. Go to like Hillsborough Park, or if you're living in Florida, go to your state park.
Yeah.
Still wear snake boots. There's snakes everywhere. You don't never know what you're going to run across.
Yep.
Some state parks you can't take a weapon, but at least take a jackknife with you, or something like that something does bite you, or you got to fight something off. And
even maybe like bear spray. Carry bear spray or pepper spray or something.
Yeah.
Now, to me, the scariest thing is coming across another human out in the woods. That's scary because it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing out here. What are you doing out here?
Right.
That's scarier than anything to me, is coming across another human.
Right.
Because you don't know what their intentions are.
Oh, yeah.
There's people that hide out there, and they're hiding out there for a reason.
Yeah, rapists, killers, murder. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
My wife and I were in my car one day, and a man called me from California. He says, I'm Chief so-and-so of the California Reservation, yada, yada. He goes, I've heard you on Squatch Radio. He goes, and every time I hear you, he goes, I feel that you have a gift for Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. So I've met him several times, and I used to play box lacrosse, and the Indians told me the same thing, I'd be hunting, little things would hit me, and I would smell, but I wouldn't see it. It never bothered me. He goes, why don't you come to California with me? He says, and we'll go into the woods, and you and I will sit in the woods and talk to Bigfoot. I said, okay. I said, well, I'm going to bring a gun. And he goes, no, you can't bring any guns with you. No, I said, listen, I'm not going in the woods with anybody, first of all, because there's mountain lions, bears, this and that. And I don't know if you're the California hiker hacker, Ain't no way in hell I'm going in the woods with you and sit down and talk to Bigfoot. I'll go on my own and we'll talk to Bigfoot, or I'm bringing a team or somebody else. No gun. I'm not going in the woods without a weapon. It's not going to happen. I don't care if it's Florida, California, New York, Chicago. I won't go downtown Chicago without a weapon.
Yep, exactly. So that's just what I would say to them.
Man, I wish I would have known you when I was in Florida. I was in Florida 13 years ago, and I would love. Because I'll tell you what, I had a bunch of tour buses. We'd have loaded up on that bus and went and parked that bus somewhere, and we'd have done some camping off that bus.
Oh God, don't tease me.
I had
Randy.
I had a 12 sleeper with a salon in the back.
Oh God.
Then my bands were traveling. We had 3 buses, and we parked right there in Dade City. And I was always parking at Disney World campgrounds, all these places. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's comforts of home, kitchen, everything's right there.
You don't have anything like that now anymore?
No, I live in Vegas. I'm actually thinking about buying another bus, but I've been really thinking about buying a house in Tennessee. I'm up there in the woods. Barbara Mandrell's old log cabin I've been really looking into buying. But here in Vegas, my wife's from Tennessee, so I kind of miss the grass and the seasons.
Oh, yes. It's so pretty there. It's so pretty.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And, Florida's pretty, too. It's just so damn humid.
It's miserable. It's miserable here.
Tennessee is, too. Don't get me wrong. Tennessee's got humidity out the yin-yang,
Yeah.
We don't have that here. We don't have that here in Vegas.
Yeah. And we got hurricanes.
Put me up. Look up for my Facebook. Make me a friend on your Facebook. Okay. And I would love to keep in contact with you about Bigfoot stuff and maybe help you out with some research, or you can help me out with some. And
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I'm big into Bigfoot. I didn't talk about it for a long time because I thought people think I was crazy. And in like 2015, I started, all these people are seeing this. I'm going to tell my stories. And after that, I've been on shows and syndicated radio, Bigfoot shows. And the guys that Dave had on his show 2 weeks ago, I was on their radio show. And, and that was many years ago, like 2016. Mm-hmm. Bigfoot I just want to prove to the world it exists.
Yep, same here. And I definitely want to prove that we have them in Florida. But I think we have both Bigfoots and skunk apes in Florida.
Yeah. Bigfoot's got a lot of monkeys, too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think those chimpanzees and Monkey Island up there by, what's that? Yeah, by Ocala. Mm-hmm. They got Monkey Island that across the water. And, there's zoos down there. Yeah. So, they got monkeys down there, but Bigfoot, I know, I've seen Bigfoot down there in Ocala fishing on that lake.
Yeah, that's where I've had many things happen in Ocala.
I know it's sitting there because I've seen it. It's there.
You know what I've always wondered, Randy, is that area, Silver Springs, with the monkeys.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bigfoots like to go over there and hang out with them because they're an ape, right?
Right.
So do apes like to hang with apes? I've always wondered that.
Well, gorillas and chimpanzees don't get along.
Right.
So maybe those monkeys and Bigfoot wouldn't get along either.
Maybe. Or
because he must see a food source.
Maybe. Or maybe they're fat. They could go over there and watch them, right? I don't know. I've always wondered it because they're right next to each other. Silver Springs and Ocala butt up to each other. So it's very easy for, Bigfoots to go over there and watch the monkeys or like to hang out over there because it's beautiful water. It's a spring area.
Well, the mermaids swim in Florida.
Wikiwachi.
I've heard there's Bigfoot there.
Yes, there are. That's where Mike had his first sighting at. Mm-hmm. Do you remember Mike was Wikiwachi?
Yeah, Wikiwachi.
Yep. And I know of one other person who had a sighting there as well. So
I could never get anybody to go to me and do stuff like that.
But that area behind Wikiwachi, it looks like the Everglades.
Yes,
it does. What's interesting about that.
Yes.
It looks a lot like it. It has the tall sawgrass. It looks big. It has the hammocks. It's along the water. and along the coast. And
it's all fresh spring water. No gators in that water.
It looks a lot like the Everglades.
It does. You're right.
Not surprised that there's been sightings there. So.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things run across the road there, but I can't swear what they were. Because I'm in a bus going 90 down that road and supposed to be doing 40. And I'm watching for the cops, and I see, okay, well, I can't keep going.
90, okay.
Yeah, I travel fast in that bus down them roads.
Okay, we have about 8 minutes left. So what I want to do right now is, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, Marie, how can they do so?
Okay, so as I've been saying, I have my Facebook group. I'm the founder of the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group on Facebook. We're also on Instagram, and also have a YouTube channel, all by the same name. There's the name of my website, midfloridabigfoot.com. If you go there, you could, read our team bios. You can read some sighting reports that we've had, or some team members have had. We have a research gallery, which is a great place to look at some photos of some of the stuff that I talked about tonight. You'll see a bunch of crazy photos. I also
going to that website right there, right?
Yes, midfloridabigfoot.com. That's where the research gallery is at. I have a media page there also, where you can click and watch other previous podcasts or shows that we were on or events that we did. And there is a tab there for David Shealy sightings, which is where we did our research study that I was talking about. We did a 3-month research study to try to debunk what he saw, what he filmed out there, and we couldn't. And what else? We had the blogs. So anyway, it's a good place to look. So Instagram, YouTube channel, midfloridabigfoot.com is the website, and then Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group on Facebook.
Okay. Now listen, when we get out of here, stay in the back room. Don't go nowhere. Randy, do you have any last questions for Marie?
Oh no, hell, I've got him. Her and I, we're good at this.
We're good.
Marie, you were an amazing guest.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there's quite a.
It's good to talk to a woman who knows about Bigfoot.
There you go.
Not too many of us.
No, it's usually just men.
Right. Correct.
And it's always like, all right, get her done. I'll over here. Yeah.
Yep, there's my logo in my group. Yep, that's it. But yeah, there aren't that many women in the field, and it's nice. I like listening to women because they always have different perspectives. It's not, I'm going to go out there and shoot them and kill them, or, I beat them up, or, just, it's just nice to hear a woman's perspective as a researcher. So.
I thought it was awesome. Great show.
Oh, thank you, Randy. It was nice
Thank you, Randy.
Yes, thank you, David. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, it has. It was also like sitting in the living room just talking to somebody, at a good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, man.
Well,
good show.
We'll definitely have you come back on again, whether it's my podcast or Randy's, and
Okay.
I love that on my podcast.
Yeah, Randy and I, we help each other out, and our good friend.
He's a good friend.
Sean, I think he went to sleep. I'm not sure. He's probably you know what he's doing? He's getting that freezer ready.
Yeah, there you go. I got my freezers. I know where to go, so I know where to put the body.
Well, Marie,
I was saying about putting bodies.
Marie, I want to thank you for being such a wonderful guest, and thank you for coming on. And like I said, don't go nowhere. Stay in the back. I'm sure Randy wants to
stick
get
around.
Some information. Okay. Yeah.
Sounds
so
good.
We're going to get ahead. We're going to get out of here. I want to thank everyone. Let me just look at the last minute. Okay, there he is. There's Sean. I'm here. And thank you, John, for the compliment. It was a great show. So I want to thank all the listeners for joining in tonight for the podcast. And we'll be here again next week. I do Friday and Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, I will do a podcast on a weeknight as well, like we did for Marie tonight. Yeah. So, Marie, thank you again. And any last comments from Randy?
Good night, sweetheart. It's time to go.
Well, thank you again for having me on your show. It's been wonderful. It's been a good time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
All right.
Mm-hmm. All right. So once again, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Randy, for coming in tonight. And
thank you, sir. It was my pleasure. It was an awesome show.
Yeah, really good show. And
it was really good.
A lot of good questions tonight, too. All right. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you, everyone. And good night.
Good night.